Okay, so one of the things that I'm always trying to encourage my students to do, particularly those that are trying to improve their ball striking or their impact area, is to play around a little bit with the grip. And what happens, you see, is that when you start learning golf, you find a way to hit that little golf ball, and unless you sort of have stumbled across something which is brilliant from a technical perspective, that does become like part of your DNA and very, very hardwired. So if you sort of go on and play for years with that type of fashion of hitting, it sometimes takes a little bit to break it. Now, the big problem is flipping, right? So flipping basically just means that club head is getting to the back of the golf ball ahead of the handle, when we're really looking for the hands to lead ahead of the club head, for a multitude of reasons. But better ball striking, you kind of de-lofting the club, so you produce better launch angle, better distance, etc., etc. So it's the kind of thing that every amateur golfer wants to be aspiring to do. And the other way of looking at it is that the last thing you really want to be doing is sort of flipping it. But what happens is when you do a multitude of drills and exercises, or what I tend to notice with a lot of students, some of the drills you get them to do, you can kind of break these habits actually pretty instantaneously. And one of my favourite ones is to change the grip. So if you sort of take hold of the golf club like normal, but then what you do with your trail hand is you separate all the fingers off. So you take your normal grip and then you separate all the fingers off. And what that does then is, well, obviously it feels weird, but the idea is that you're going to hit some shots with this particular hand, right? Because if you're somebody who's flipping, what's generally happening is you're not moving, so you're not rotating through the ball. You're kind of stalling out and slowing down, which then means that your hand has to take over. So your sort of trail hand straightens too soon, and then you end up looking this way. But when you do this type of exercise, you're sort of aware that you want to be pushing the club through. And with a bit of advice, that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. See the way my trail hand is still underneath my lead arm, and it's constantly applying a pressure in this type of fashion. And what that's going to do is that's going to stabilize the club face, okay? Now, there are different ways to release the club, but I'm talking about an exercise here that's really going to push this club through. And one of the byproducts of this drill is that you're going to end up in a finished position where you're going to feel like you're holding off more. And that's because it's obvious that if you're flipping and you're finishing this way, or you're excessively rolling, your trail hand's too much on top. So it's a really good drill to get the feeling of that trail hand pushing that club through, like so. And it'll naturally encourage you to rotate through the ball. Now, like all of these drills, what happens is that you're going to find them quite awkward. And again, what happens with all my online students is that, well, they have to persevere. And at first, they're not very good at these drills, but you build it up. So first of all, maybe you make a few practice swings, just trying to hit the ground, or maybe you just make a few swings, first of all, without even trying to hit the ground. So if you're going to do these drills, don't necessarily expect that you're going to go and do it and you're going to go and hit the ball brilliantly. But what I would suggest is that if you're going to persevere and you're absolutely sick to death of hitting the golf ball with that flipping motion, if you carried on doing this drill for a period of time, you will get better and you'll notice that the flip will go. Because once you start learning how to really move your hands through that impact area, you can progressively go from this type of grip to reintroducing this, reintroducing the thumb, etc., etc. And then you'll no longer be as reliant on the right hand to square the face. And you can start to understand the rotation of the lead arm sort of squares the face as the right arm pushes the club through, and you'll be able to hit straight shots with a much better release pattern. See you guys again really soon.